Welcome back. President Obama was in Asia this week hoping to deliver a big trade deal with Japan. But his only clear victory was scoring dinner reservations at the world's hottest and smallest sushi restaurant. While here at home in Washington, City Center D.C. keeps rolling out big names planning to call the 9th Street Strip home. Joins to talk about this week's business headlines, the parents of two of our earlier guests, Mike Zappler, national political editor at Politico, and Jennifer Nice-Connor, assistant managing editor at the Washington Business Journal. Welcome to you both. Mike, the White House hosted Take Your Kids to Work Day, and there was a touching moment with Mrs. Obama and a young girl. Let's take a quick look at that.
My dad's been out of a job for 3 years, and I wanted to give you his resume.
So that was a really sweet moment that Mrs. Obama was not expecting. What can you tell us about that?
It was very poignant, like you said, a very poignant moment. She was hosting a session with workers for the executive office building, and this young 10-year-old girl whose mom works in the executive branch, or a federal worker, like you saw, presented the First Lady with her dad's resume, who's been out of work for 2 years. I mean, the interesting thing about this is her dad actually worked for the Obama campaign in 2012.
Has he gotten a job yet? I don't think we've landed a job yet, but
I don't think quite yet.
Still see. Well, I give his daughter
interesting to see.
Kudos. I will be very surprised if he hasn't landed a job by the end of, let's say, next week. So good job to her for getting out there and hustling. Jennifer, you all have launched at Washington Business Journal a new program that involves mentoring a little bit older demographic than what we had for Take Your Kids to Work Day. Yeah. Tell us about the new program.
Well, ours was kind of the same level of organization it might have felt like with as many people as we had, but we had a great event called Mentoring Monday, which is something new we just started doing, where we had over 200 women come together for basically, you've heard of speed dating? This was speed mentoring. So we had 40 of the top women professionals here in town basically taking mentoring sessions for 4 minutes at a time, and then a bell would ring and everybody would move through.
So tick off some of the names of some of the women participating, because I saw and I was very impressed with who you got, and they give great advice. So who were some of your participants? We
had a ton of women from all different backgrounds. We had Rosie Allen Herring, who is the head of the United Way of the National Capital Area. We had Linda Rabbit, who's the CEO of Rand Construction. We had Barbara Mullinex, who is one of the top architects in town, and you name it, there was any of the top women really were there. And what was great was just not just the mentoring that was going on, but was the energy in the room, because it was one of those things where people came really prepared. They came with great questions, and it wasn't just, hi, can I have a job at your firm at all. It was much more, how do you kind of make it to the next level? How do you advance past kind of the entry level? And the thing I kept hearing from all the women who served as mentors was we were just impressed by what people came prepared to ask us.
I love it. Mike, not as big of a success for President Obama this week in Asia. I want you to stand by, because when we come back after the break, you're going to talk about what he did and what he didn't accomplish. Stay tuned. We'll have more right after the break. And we're back with more from Politico's Mike Zappler and Jennifer Nice-Connor with the Washington Business Journal. So, Mike, the president was hoping for a big breakthrough on his trip to Asia. He wanted some kind of major agreement with Japan so they could move forward with this trans-Pacific partnership that would team up North America, South America, Asia, bringing all these different countries together. He didn't get everything he wanted. What did he get?
He got some progress. He was hoping for an actual agreement before the trip. He had a state visit with the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, and this trade agreement that they're trying to hash out would be enormous, the biggest one since NAFTA.
Something like 40% of world trade would be controlled by this agreement.
Exactly, it would encompass.
So the big block, assembly block in Japan were cars. Our automobile manufacturers aren't happy with what President Obama was trying to do in terms of lowering barriers with Japan, and their farmers weren't happy with what we were trying to do in terms of their restrictions. So where do you think this goes?
That's right. There's wariness on both sides that once this thing was approved, that the other side is not going to get the access to their markets that they believed, and so. And then on top of that, you have a lot of domestic politics involved. You have the Democratic Party, which doesn't want this. So even if they were able to reach some kind of breakthrough, Obama would have to come back to Congress and probably not get what he wants.
But the White House is saying, don't put a fork in it. We're not totally done. We're going to keep pushing this through.
They are.
Jennifer, someone who did, or a group that seemed to get everything they want, City Center D.C., what used to be quite the desolate part of downtown D.C., 9th Street, and it is growing like gangbusters. Tell us some of the announcements they've had.
You know, it's crazy. I don't know if you've been down there lately, but it's just they keep coming out with announcements. It seems like daily what's going on. But I mean, you've got some of the top luxury retailers. You name a brand, they're down there. Kate Spade, Toomey, Burberry, Louis Vuitton. It just keeps going on and on and on.
They're not all there yet, but they
No.
say once City Center gets completed, they're all going to put a stake down there and give it a try.
Well, and what's very interesting with that is they're all trying to kind of set up shop and have this very high-end mixed-use development down there. And the neighboring Georgetown, which is also kind of known for more of the high-end retailers, just kind of giving them the eyeball, looking down, across the city, going, "What's going on over there? How are we going to compete?"
So give us the headlines right now in terms of what are their biggest stumbling blocks and what are their biggest victories. They're getting a Hilton Hotel, one of their high-end boutiques, the Conrad.
That is a very interesting development. Yes, it's whether Hilton's going to be bringing one of the new Conrad hotels, which is their contemporary luxury line. And this is actually a nice thing, too, for Hilton, because if you remember, Hilton actually lost out last year to Trump with the old post office. So this is kind of their chance to get a really big, marquee hotel downtown.
Lots of money involved and still more to be seen on both fronts. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for joining us. Be sure and tune in next week for Washington Business Report.